Not everyone dares to admit it. The older we get, the more we crave solitude. But behind what seems like a simple truth are psychological realities that might truly surprise you. In fact, this is not something that happens to you alone. It is a very natural psychological rule that almost everyone experiences as they enter late adulthood and old age. In today's video, I will reveal to you 7 deep psychological reasons why you find yourself withdrawing more and more, and why this is actually a milestone to be proud of, not something to worry about. Once you understand these reasons, you will not only appreciate yourself more, but also know how to cherish meaningful relationships, instead of desperately maintaining shallow connections just to fill the emptiness. Before we dive in, leave a positive affirmation in the comments below. For example, you might write, "I cherish the peace within my soul," or any uplifting message you feel like sharing. And do not forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel so we can continue growing a community filled with positive energy, a place where each of us can feel heard, understood, and thrive stronger every day. Are you ready? Let's begin the journey of exploring the most subtle movements within our inner world. 1. The need to protect your mental energy. When we are young, we are like mountain springs overflowing with energy, rushing eagerly in every direction. We are willing to spend our time, mind, and emotions on countless relationships, from close friendships to casual acquaintances, long conversations that last all night, noisy parties packed with people, endless gatherings, all were welcomed with excitement. But over time, you realize a simple yet profound truth. Mental energy is not infinite. Every conversation, every crowd you immerse yourself in, every time you force yourself through polite small talk, all of it drains a piece of your inner vitality. And unlike in your youth, your ability to quickly recharge is no longer the same. You start feeling exhausted after long gatherings. You feel empty rather than energized. That is why, as you enter deeper stages of adulthood, you become more selective, choosing where, with whom, and on what you truly want to spend your precious energy. You begin to ask yourself, will this meeting really make me feel better? Is this person someone I genuinely want to connect with? Is my presence here enriching my soul, or is it just an empty formality? This shift does not mean you are becoming difficult or antisocial. It is a beautiful sign of emotional maturity, knowing how to honor yourself enough not to drain your spirit for superficial relationships. You start to prioritize relationships that are truly meaningful, those that make you feel safe, peaceful, and free to be your authentic self. You treasure quiet mornings, deep conversations, and peaceful moments far more than noisy, crowded parties. You realize that preserving your energy for what truly matters is one of the deepest forms of self-love. And the wonderful thing is, once you know how to protect your energy, you also become a healing source of energy for those who truly deserve it. You no longer scatter yourself across hundreds of shallow relationships, but focus instead on nurturing the ones that are sustainable and profound. 2. Heightened emotional sensitivity. As we grow older, a subtle yet very real change takes place. We become more emotionally sensitive to our surroundings. Noisy environments, heated arguments, even careless remarks. All of these can now shake our hearts more deeply than they did when we were young. This does not mean you are becoming weak or overly sensitive. It is because after years of facing life's ups and downs, your nervous system becomes more responsive to stress signals. Your heart has experienced enough to know peace is not something to take for granted. It is something you must protect. As a result, you start to avoid environments that are potentially hurtful. Tense conversations, loud parties, gossipy groups. These no longer hold the same allure. You no longer feel the need to force yourself to fit in or to exhaust yourself trying to please others. Instead, you start to treasure gentler spaces. A quiet morning, a deep conversation with a friend who truly understands you. An afternoon by the window listening to the wind. You feel each passing emotion more vividly and learn to choose what nurtures your emotional energy, rather than what depletes it. greater sensitivity also means you are more vulnerable to hurt, but at the same time, you become more attuned to joy and happiness. A simple moment can now deeply move your heart. In these quiet choices, you are practicing a profound kind of emotional intelligence, keeping only what truly resonates with your soul. You understand that the outside world will always be noisy and chaotic, but inside yourself, you can create an oasis of peace if you are mindful enough to protect it. 3. A deep understanding of life's impermanence. One of the greatest gifts that comes with age is a heartfelt understanding of life's impermanence. It is no longer just a philosophical idea, no longer something you read in books. It becomes an undeniable truth etched into your soul through lived experience. We once believed that some things would last forever: unbreakable friendships, eternal love, relationships we thought would never fade. Yet time, gentle but ruthless, has shown us that everything changes. Those who once promised to stay may now be just a fading name. People who once felt like family sometimes become nothing more than parallel lines that never cross again. Goodbyes, disappointments, and the painful necessity of letting go all teach us this change is the natural law of life. There is nothing wrong with a relationship growing distant. There is nothing wrong when people who were once close now walk separate paths. Because you have come to understand this, you no longer strain yourself trying to cling to relationships that no longer nourish your spirit. There is no more desperate effort, no more expectation that someone will always understand and stay. You accept that each person has their own journey, and sometimes letting go is a way of loving yourself and loving them. You choose to invest your precious energy in relationships that truly align with your soul, where you can be yourself, heard, and cherished. Lasting relationships are no longer built on hollow promises, but are nurtured by respect, maturity, and genuine love. This understanding of impermanence also helps you face loss with greater calm. You know that sadness is an inevitable part of life, and rather than resist it, you learn to move through it, embrace it, and walk onward with a stronger and more compassionate heart. In this process, you also discover the strange beauty of impermanence, because everything changes every moment. With loved ones becomes more precious than ever. You learn to live deeply in the present, rather than trade it away for distant expectations. 4. The accumulation of loss and betrayal. When you have lived long enough, you inevitably carry invisible scars, wounds from loss, shocks from betrayal. Maybe it was someone you trusted completely who walked away when you needed them the most. Maybe it was sweet promises that turned into nothing more than a shadow in your memory. Maybe it was the countless times you placed your trust only to be hurt without explanation. At first, you might tell yourself it was just a mistake. Then another time, you might reassure yourself everyone makes mistakes. But over the years, these experiences accumulate into a quiet wisdom. Not bitterness, not hatred, but a profound clarity. Trust must be given selectively. You are no longer willing to open your heart to just anyone. You understand that being friendly does not mean being careless with your trust, and this is a necessary evolution to protect your heart. A heart that has bled many times, yet remains resilient and kind. This does not mean you have lost faith in humanity. On the contrary, you still believe, but it is a conscious belief. You see others with the understanding that everyone has their limits and anyone can hurt others, whether intentionally or not. From this awareness, you learn to place your trust in actions, in consistency, and in things proven over time, not just fleeting words. The experiences of loss and betrayal have made you more discerning in choosing friends and companions. You no longer expect perfection from people. You know that in this imperfection, there are souls truly worth opening your heart to and relationships that deserve to end peacefully. You also come to realize that forgiveness is not about forgetting. It is about letting go of the need to demand justice from those who hurt you. Forgiveness is a gift you give yourself to walk forward lightly, unchained by the past. Those scars, though, they will never fully fade, stand as proof of a soul that dared to love, dared to trust, and dared to grow, you understand that every fall, every pain is an essential part of the journey back to yourself. Shifting priorities in life. When we are young, most of us hunger for recognition. We chase careers, constantly expand our networks, and build our personal image in the eyes of others. Achievements, social status, and reputation become the yardsticks by which we measure our worth. Attending crowded events, forging a vast network, all of it feels critically important, not just for career advancement, but also to feel seen and accepted. However, as time goes by, life begins to teach us different lessons. Those glamorous dreams gradually make way for deeper desires, longings that cannot be bought with fame or busyness. You start to realize that health, both physical and mental, is your most precious asset. Waking up in the morning with a flexible body, a clear mind, and a heart full of peace is priceless. Far beyond any high you could get from social media attention or fleeting public admiration. You also realize that true inner peace is the greatest achievement one can attain. No longer swept away by expectations, comparisons, or endless races. You choose to slow down to favor genuine relationships over a large quantity of acquaintances. You opt for deep conversations rather than fleeting parties. More importantly, you come to understand the value of quality time. You no longer waste your hours on meaningless gatherings or heavy obligatory relationships. Instead, you invest your time in things that truly make your heart sing: an afternoon walk in the park, tea time with a loved one, a book that stirs your soul. Your priorities shift, but that does not mean you have given up on ambition. It simply means you have grown wiser in choosing what truly deserves your precious investment. You no longer need the approval of the crowd to feel valuable. Your worth comes from the sense of peace and freedom you carry within something no one can give you and no one can take away. This shift in priorities does not happen overnight. It is the result of contemplation of stumbles and falls of those moments, when you quietly ask yourself, what truly matters to me? And every time you let go of an old priority that no longer serves you, you move one step closer to your true self, a self that is whole, profound, and free. Releasing the pressure to please everyone. One of the clearest signs of true emotional maturity is when you no longer feel the need to please everyone around you. There were times when the affection of others acted like a mirror, reflecting your own self-worth. A single compliment could lift your spirits sky high, making you feel validated and seen. Conversely, a cold glance or a critical comment could leave you doubting yourself, questioning your choices, and overthinking every word and action. You forced yourself to smile, even when you felt otherwise, to agree, when your heart disagreed, to act cheerful and likable, all just to avoid upsetting or disappointing anyone. But as you continue to walk through life's inevitable ups and downs, you gradually come to realize a vital truth. The expectations of others are a bottomless pit. No matter how hard you try, no matter how much effort you put in, there will always be someone who disapproves. There will always be judgmental stares, gossip behind your back, whispers in the shadows. And the truth is, you cannot and you should not spend your entire life desperately chasing after those ever-changing, unattainable expectations. You begin to feel lighter and freer the moment you give yourself permission not to be liked by everyone. You finally understand with a clarity you might not have had before that the approval or disapproval of others does not define your true worth. It only reflects their own personal lenses, shaped by their unique experiences, biases and beliefs, lenses through which they view the world, and lenses you have absolutely no obligation to conform to or accommodate. Because of this, stepping away from relationships that no longer align with your authentic self no longer makes you feel guilty or like a failure. Instead, it feels like an act of liberation, an act of profound self-respect. You become more selective and intentional with your connections, prioritizing authenticity over shallow popularity. You come to see with crystal clarity that quality matters infinitely more than quantity. A few deep, meaningful, soul-nourishing relationships are worth more than 1,000 casual acquaintances that lack depth and sincerity. You grant yourself permission to live in alignment with your true values and principles without playing roles or wearing masks to make others comfortable. You learn to say no with calm confidence, to politely decline invitations and commitments that no longer serve your spirit without feeling the need to make excuses or harbor feelings of guilt. As the pressure to please everyone fades away, you begin to savor a deep, powerful sense of freedom. You are finally allowed to be your whole, authentic, radiant self. And from that place of authenticity, the relationships that endure in your life become even more beautiful, more genuine, because they are rooted in mutual understanding, mutual respect, and heartfelt sincerity, rather than in the fragile need for approval. You come to understand that not everyone needs to understand you, and that you do not need to exhaust yourself striving for universal acceptance. Those who stay are the ones whose souls resonate with yours, who share your deepest values and honor your journey. Those who leave are simply fellow travelers who have fulfilled their role in your evolution, their chapter in your life, naturally reaching its graceful end. Releasing the need to be loved by all is not a loss. It is a magnificent act of self-love. It is the moment you grant yourself the most precious gift, the right, the freedom, and the courage to live fully and unapologetically as your true self. 7. Rediscovering your own worth. As the roles you once played in society gradually fall away, the masks of having to succeed, having to be perfect, having to be loved, a magical journey begins, the journey back to yourself. No longer striving to become the version the world expects, you start to rediscover your true self. The hobbies, the passions, the sides of you that were once neglected in the busyness of chasing external expectations. You suddenly realize that joy is not found in grand, noisy achievements, but exists in the simplest of daily experiences. A leisurely morning stroll beneath the trees, a soft melody playing from an old radio, the scent of a freshly opened book, or simply quiet reflections while sitting by the porch watching the rain fall. This simplicity is not poverty. It is refinement. In each of these moments, you feel a fullness of happiness, a kind of happiness that does not come from external recognition, but from genuine connection with your own inner world. You also begin to redefine your self-worth. It is no longer tied to the number of achievements, the size of your social network, or the compliments you receive. Your value lies in the invisible yet profound qualities: patience, kindness, the ability to truly listen, and sincerity in loving. You understand that only when you know how to love and honor yourself can you offer pure love to others. Returning to yourself also brings a kind of inner freedom that perhaps you had never fully experienced before. There is no longer a need to prove anything, no longer a need to compete or race with anyone. You learn to relax, to live according to your own rhythm, and to savor each moment, instead of always rushing towards some distant, vague goal. Along this journey, you may find yourself becoming quieter, speaking less, but feeling much more. You do not need to shout for the world to hear you, because it is enough that you can hear yourself. Rediscovering your self-worth is not a final destination. It is a lifelong journey. Every day you uncover another part of yourself, those quiet beauties you may have overlooked when you were younger. And this kind of maturity brings you a silent yet incredibly enduring strength. The strength of a soul that has become one with itself. As we grow older, withdrawing from the noise of society is not a sign of loneliness or failure. It is a conscious choice, the choice of those who have seen through the outer chaos to seek the true treasures within. You are not lost because you are aging. You are stepping back to carefully select what truly nourishes your soul. And in that silence, you do not lose your strength. You find a deeper strength than ever before, the strength of an experienced, steady, and wise soul. The path you are walking may sometimes make you feel different, sometimes even lonely. But remember this, you are not alone. There are many others walking this path of growth alongside you. Quietly, steadfastly, and filled with love. If you feel connected to what we have shared today, leave a comment below, share an experience, a feeling, or simply a positive affirmation for yourself. For example, "I am growing stronger every day," or any phrase that inspires you on your journey. And do not forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel so you will not miss out on more profound content like this. Let us continue building a community filled with positive energy where every step of growth is honored and cherished. See you in the next video.